Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you. Welcome back. We're going to start chapter 12. We're going to be breaking chapter 12 up into two sections as well because it is 20 pages and the videos are just a little longer in that way. And I'm trying to keep them a little shorter so they are a little bit more approachable. So that just means obviously more videos, but that is okay. We will finish this up. And let me find my spot. Okay, so chapter 12 is titled, Becoming a Seer, a New Point of View. 2,000 years ago, a great master said, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Well, now you know that the truth is what you are. The next step is to see the truth, to see what you are. Only then are you free. Free of what? Free of all the distortions in your knowledge, free of all the emotional drama that is the consequence of believing in lies. When the truth sets you free, the symbols you learned are no longer ruling your world. Then it's not about being right or wrong or good or bad. It's not about being a winner or a loser. It's not about being young or old, beautiful or ugly. All of that is over. It was nothing but symbols. You'll know that you are totally free when you no longer have to be the you that you pretend to be. This freedom is profound. It's the freedom to be the real you, and it's the greatest gift that you can give yourself. And I also think that's sort of what Jesus was trying to convey when he was here, heaven on earth. And then eternally, once your soul leaves your body, is getting a taste for, and if you're enlightened enough, a full experience of heaven on earth by walking in God's will and by being who you really are. And also allowing other people to be who they really are with no judgment regardless of what the action is, understanding that there is no good or bad, there just is. And that is a very tough thing for people to grasp because we've been raised as for millennia, from far back before even Jesus was born, to seek revenge, to make sure that people who do wrong get justice that we can view, that we can be a part of, that we can decide, so that we can punish them. Not understanding reaping and sowing means that when we punish somebody for their wrong, our punishing them, then we get what we're reaping and sowing. We get something back to us that may not be desirable, even if your action is quote unquote justified in that revenge or in that justice, because the universe, as I said in a previous video, does not look at your action and go, oh, well, they're just punishing that person for what that person did, and what that person did was atrocious. No, they only see your action. The universe sees your action, and you pay, whether it's bad or good, for the action that you are putting out there. That's something to really think on if you're pondering karma and sin and all of the things that have been embedded within us from a very young age. It's easiest to believe it because it's what we've all been taught. It's hard to unlearn it, but you can do it. All right. Imagine living without fear, without judgment, without blame, without guilt, without shame. Imagine living your life without trying to please other people's points of view, and not even your point of view according to your own book of law. Imagine how different your life would be if you lived with gratitude, love, loyalty, and justice, beginning with yourself. Just imagine the union between you and your body if you were completely loyal to your body, if you were completely grateful for your body, if you treated your body with justice. Imagine being yourself and not trying to convince anybody of anything. Imagine that just by being yourself, you are happy, and that wherever you go, heaven is going with you, because you are heaven. Imagine living with this kind of freedom. Yes, the truth will set you free, but first you need to see the truth. And I do think that's something a lot of people also struggle with, is understanding what freedom really is. It's far beyond the freedom to vote, the freedom to say what we want, the freedom to worship how we want, the freedom to love who we want. These things are human-made freedoms. They are not the innate freedom of the soul, the true freedom, which is uniting with your source of being and living your true heaven. I want you to see if the story of you is the truth or is not the truth. Just witness what is without any judgment, because whatever you're creating is perfect. See your environment, the frame of your dream, all around you. See your beliefs, the way they're reflected in the story of your life. See where your attention is bringing your whole dream. I don't mean for you to think about it. I mean for you to see, and seeing is not thinking. Is it the truth? Well, if it's not the truth, now you know that you don't have to believe it. Instead of believing, learn to see. What you believe, you distort right away, according to your knowledge. But when you let go of knowledge and go beyond symbols, at a certain point in your life, you start to become a seer. A seer is a dreamer who has mastered the dream, who has learned to see. Artist, dreamer, messenger, seer. There are many ways to name you. I prefer to call you an artist because your whole creation is a masterpiece of art. This is your chance to see your creation, to see what is, to see the truth. But first you have to let go of everything that is not truth, everything that is nothing but a superstition or lie. If you're willing to invite the truth, you will find that your story, whatever you say it is completely false. You know that the story of you is not the truth. You just need the courage to let go of what you are not, to let go of the past, to detach from your story, because your story is not you. The moment you no longer believe all the lies that you have been telling yourself, you find out that it doesn't matter how painful it is. The truth is 1,000,000 times better than believing in lies. In any novel, in any movie or real-life drama, the highest point of the story is the moment of truth. Before then, all of the drama in the story is building up and building up. The tension keeps escalating until the truth arrives like a tidal wave and destroys all the lies. In the moment of crisis, the lies can't survive the presence of the truth and they disappear. There's no more tension. Peace returns with the truth, and we feel relieved that the drama is over. Of course, when the truth arrives in your own story, everything you believe feels threatened. Fear takes over and says, "Help. The entire structure of my life, everything I've ever believed in, is falling apart. What am I going to do without all of my lies? If I don't believe everything anymore, if I don't gossip anymore, I'll have nothing to say." Exactly. This is what I've been trying to tell you. People ask me, if I no longer believe all the symbols, if I take my faith out of every word, how can I communicate with anyone? How can I survive in life without the foundation of what I know? As you can see, the power of doubt is working in their minds, and it's even bigger than before. Well, if you remember that the way you used to be before you learned to speak, when you were just like the rest of the animals, you will see that at that time, you could communicate without words. Without using your intellect, without using words, I want you to recover what you used to be a long time ago, to go back to the authenticity that you had before you learned to speak and experience the truth. I want you to go directly into your heart and search for the truth with no words, to find your authentic self and bring it out with all of your power. The highest point of your journey back to you is the moment when you finally see yourself through the eyes of truth. If you can see your authentic self, you will love what you see. You see the magnificence of your presence. You see how wonderful and beautiful you are. You see the perfection in you, and this breaks any doubt that anyone else ever put in your head. You see that you are light, that you are life, and when you accept your own divinity, you become a better reflection of life. You are here to enjoy life. You are not here to suffer over your drama or your personal importance. It's not you. It doesn't belong to your presence. You are here to be a dreamer, to be an artist, to be a seer. But you cannot be a seer when you only have eyes to see your own story, your own wounds, your own victimization. When you are still focusing on what your mother did to you 20 years ago or 40 years ago, or what your father did, or what your partner did, or what any of the other secondary characters in your story did to you, then you are not seeing the truth. If you are focusing on all that drama, then talking to you is like talking to a wall. Does this ring any bells someplace? Before you become a seer, you are far from the simplicity of life, very far from it. You believe that you know everything. You have so many great opinions, and you try to impose your opinions on everybody else. Once you become a seer, everything changes. As a seer, you see what people pretend to be, what they express, what they believe they are. You know that it's not the truth. You know that everybody is just pretending. What are they pretending? You don't know exactly. You can't read the minds of all those secondary characters that you create. You hardly know what you're pretending, but something you can see behind all that pretending is the real person. And how can you not love the real person? Just like you, the real person comes from the infinite. The real person has nothing to do with the symbols that come from the voice of knowledge. The real person has nothing to do with any story. When you become a seer, you see what is behind the story. You understand other people, but they don't understand themselves. There's no way they will understand you, and they don't have to. The majority of humans don't have the awareness that you have. They don't know why they are the way they are. They have no idea. They just survive. They don't have to believe everybody, but they believe everybody anyway. They don't trust themselves at all. They have no idea how great they are. But the funny thing is, they don't trust themselves, but you will trust other people who are not working on themselves, other people who are great at doling out advice that they don't take themselves. So it's super important when you're looking outside for any kind of advice. Don't go to somebody who's not doing any seeking to better themselves. It's like going to somebody who just filed for bankruptcy for financial advice. Maybe they can tell you what not to do, but it may not be as helpful as here's what you do. I think it's obvious what you don't want to do if you don't want to file bankruptcy on purpose. You know what I'm saying? So you really have to be careful with seeking outside advice too. I did that a lot, and the more hands in the pot, the worse it is. It's like that saying, the more cooks in the kitchen, it does nothing to help you, nothing at all. And in the past, I made some really stupid decisions based off of the influence of other people, not realizing that at the end of the day, many times I ended up doing what I wanted to anyways, to hell with what everybody else said. I was looking for basically somebody to just agree with me, and I would look and look until I would find it. That's all we're ever really looking for is validation. Do we ever really take anyone else's advice, or do we already know innately what's best for us and just not follow it? That's something that I think most people have done at least once in their lives. Okay. They only see their knowledge, which surrounds them like a wall of fog. Imagine being the only sober person in the middle of 1,000 people who are completely drunk. Are you going to have a discussion with people like that? Do you really want to believe them? You know that whatever they say isn't the truth, and you know this because you used to be drunk too, and everything you said wasn't the truth either. With awareness, you can easily understand how those minds were prepared to become the way they are and what they are. But just because you have awareness, it doesn't mean that you are better than anyone else. Being aware doesn't make you superior, and it doesn't make you more intelligent. It has nothing to do with intelligence. Knowing this, of course, you are completely humble. You just don't care. But there are two ways of I don't care. There's the way of the victim in the dream of the first detention, and that I don't care is just a lie, because victims really do care, and they do get very hurt and injured. They have all these emotional wounds that are full of poison and a defense mechanism that says, oh, I don't care. Of course they care, and of course you won't believe that I don't care. When you're a seer, humans are extremely predictable. You can see that all humans in the dream of the victims are possessed by the main character of their story. This is their point of view, their only point of view. The way they see life is very narrow, and it's narrow because their beliefs act like a mirror that only shows them what they believe, and it's obvious that it's not truth at all. They project what they believe on you, and you perceive what they project on you. But you don't take it personally because you don't make the assumption that what they are projecting is true. You know that what they project is what they believe about themselves. And you know that because you used to do the same thing. Once you become a seer, you see everything other artists do to themselves, but your point of view is completely impersonal. The process of unlearning takes you to a place where there's no longer a judge and a victim in your story. It's just a story, and you know that it's your creation, but it's just as if it's happening to somebody else. You see all the stories, you see all the symbols, you see how people play with all of that, but it has no effect on you. It doesn't offend you because you are completely immune. You see faces. You love the faces, but you are also aware that there's something that doesn't belong to your dream. It's the personal dream that other artists are dreaming, and you have complete respect for their dream, for their creation. Respect is a beautiful word, and it's one of the most important symbols that we can understand. Imagine that you had never heard the word before, and let's make it up and agree on a meaning. Because just like any other symbol, we need to agree with the symbol or it won't work for us. Respect, like many of the symbols, begins with ourselves. And then it goes on to everyone and everything around us. If we don't respect ourselves, how can we respect anyone or anything else? Okay, so that is exactly half of chapter 12. That's where we are at this point. So I will put a little mark here. And I do have to say that respect is a really, really important in every area of life. And it's extra hard when you don't agree with somebody else's point of view. And we try so hard to get rid of their point of view and try to talk them into our point of view. And rarely does that ever work. Rarely. You see people getting into arguments on social media, whether it's political videos or whether it's just a stupid little short with a mom doing something with her baby and everybody has something to say about it. And then people start arguing and being mean to one another. And a lot of times with political social media posts, people are they just want to be heard and they want to put their opinion out there. And their hope is that they change somebody's mind. And in my opinion, first of all, I've never had my mind blown or changed right away from somebody putting their post out there on social media or their opinion about something. When we have a change of heart about something, it's usually because we've done some soul searching. It's usually because we've had a personal experience. We've had time to reflect. And so respecting that somebody feels different from you is so important. There's so much division, especially in America right now. I do not follow politics. I do not know what goes on in the rest of the world. I hardly know what goes on half the time in my own country because it doesn't do me any good. I do not know what's truth. I do not know what's a lie. I don't take either side at this point. I try to remain neutral and I try to respect everybody's opinion and belief that they have every right to have and be okay with that because I can't control that and I don't want to. I don't want to go around influencing everybody with my opinion and trying to change people's mind. And I certainly don't want that put on me. And I don't want to put somebody down for feeling differently, which happens to me all the time because I have a very unique point of view on life. And it's very different than a lot of people's. And I'm not saying that to toot my own horn. I used to have a very narrow point of view and I've had to work very hard on myself to let go of those things. And we're all in different places in that journey. Some of us may get there, some of us may not. Not in this life, not in the next 50, who knows? But you don't have to agree with somebody, but you should respect it. And if we all had respect for one another's differences, that would make the biggest difference in the world. Forget all the other stuff. If we could just learn to respect another person's point of view or thoughts and allow them to have that without trying to shove stuff down their throat or change their minds, and just accept it, there would be so much more peace in this world, which I hope one day we can see and really feel in one another and in our interactions as the days go by and the years go by. So you don't have to like things. You don't have to agree with them. You can think it's deplorable. You can think it's horrible, but at least respect the person. At least respect that they are a human being, that they are connected to you under God, and that they have the right to have a different opinion, because what you think is completely reasonable, another person may think is completely wacko and wrong, and you don't see that because it's your thought. So I like to look at it like that. How I feel about what I believe is the way that you may feel differently about something that you believe, and that's just the way it is. So anyways, all right, we'll stop right there, and we'll finish the last half of chapter 12 in our next video, and that will just leave one more chapter. So thank you all very much for joining me. I love you all very much, and please, until I see you again, take care of yourselves. Take care of those around you. See you soon. Bye-bye.